you live to YouTube and on Facebook, and I can give you a recording of it later after if you want. But how you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Olivia, how are you doing?
I am well. Just in Melbourne, so
Yeah, probably,
kind of
probably
wish
nice.
we were somewhere else.
Probably
Yeah.
nice and warm.
Well, it's cold down there. You're more than welcome to fly out to Townsville and enjoy a breakaway.
A flight ticket.
So, how's everything going for you down there? What's it looking like for Absolute MMA?
Well, they've got, I think the 21st of June or something, it's non-contact training is allowed, which is jiu-jitsu. But I think for Muay Thai, you're allowed to have some plans or something like that. So that's something. But we're kind of renovations going. Just knocked my coffee over. Tea, sorry.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's better. You might have been too close to another phone.
Yeah, that's all right. Liv's gonna work on that. Yeah, so we've got something there, and hopefully the next level after that is for us. But yeah, so I mean it's tough. It's obviously tough for every gym. But we're doing renovations at the moment, so in some way it's been okay. We had a lot of stuff to do around the gym. Can you hear us?
That's it. It's back again. That's good.
Oh, was it?
That's perfect. Yeah. No, it was just a little bit of a break, but that's clear as day again now. Well, it's good that at least there's some training going on. Now we've all been in lockdown, and you guys are more so than some of the rest of us. What's your tips for keeping moving?
At the moment, someone who doesn't have someone to drill with at home or train with. I think mobility. Work a lot on stretching and mobility, and I think keeping some level of conditioning is important. I mean, I'm lucky I'm able to roll, but if not, I'd probably be doing some weights or something. I don't normally do weights, but I would probably do it just so my body doesn't wither away without any loading or stimulus like that. So, so that's probably what I'd suggest at the moment.
In a deeper sense, how do you do that? So for the average person out there, they probably struggle with the motivation to get going, and I can normally get going through some direction connected to my own purpose. What keeps you going, and what would be your advice to somebody who struggles with the motivation to do things?
I mean, for me, I've got ADCC in the back of my mind, so that's something I'm kind of focused on. So any sort of, I'm aware that in a year I need to be, or a bit over a year, I need to be ready for that. So trying to prepare for that.
What's the focus for that one now? I mean, are you going to put all your energy into trying to recreate the results you got in the Absolute, or do you want redemption for your own weight class?
Mostly my own weight class. Yeah, I don't even know if I'll do the Absolute. We'll see. Probably if I do my weight division and I'm annoyed at my result, I might do the open weight again. But definitely just trying to get ready for as best I can for my weight division and working on some skills. At the moment, it's so far away that I can be working on new skills that I can bring to the table. So that's kind of what my focus is on at the moment.
How about you, Lee? I've got a bunch of female students, and I know that they enjoy seeing females up there in the ADCC as well. Is that still your focus? Are you trying to get back there again and improve results?
Yeah, absolutely. It was like such a big deal qualifying because I've been trying to do that for many years. So it was a very, very anticlimactic to just get choked very quickly. So yeah, I'll definitely want to do it again. Hopefully there will be new weight divisions added. The under 60 kilos is pretty, well, it's just not my weight division, so it's pretty tough. Like the girls are cutting from 70.
Yep.
So I am focusing on that as well as the gi.
It is highly unfair. I do agree with you there. There's some big weight classes for the women. It makes it very difficult. How do you guys manage coaching and being athletes at the same time? So when I was an athlete, I reckon I was a pretty selfish coach, and I struggled to juggle both of those. How much coaching are you guys doing now, and how do you balance that?
Yeah, for me, it's I do think whichever one you put more into it takes away from the other. Even just I kind of think in preparation for ADCC, for example, you want to be pushing your body pretty hard. Like you want to be using your training energy the best way possible, and that usually makes you quite depleted for other areas. So often by the time it comes around to night classes and coaching, I'd be pretty tired, and it's probably harder to put all of my energy in. But obviously, when you've got a room full of people and you're in that environment, and it's obviously you do what you can. But I probably don't get as much chance to actually jump in there and roll with all the guys who are in the class. I'm more just kind of watching and observing, which I suppose is it's important in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yes, go.
Try to, like, after comps are over, I try to make sure I roll with all the sort of lower belt girls as well. Like, so the roll is more for them than for me. Like when I'm in comp prep, especially ADCC, it was all heel hooks and pretty high intensity. So it's probably not the nicest role for many people, but that's certainly not all year round. So I make sure that after my comps are over, I attend to the girls that, I try to help them a bit more rather than it's all being for me.
Yeah, be a much nicer person. Yeah, I do. I do sympathise with that. It is difficult to kind of like be 100% in your game, and sometimes even the young guys, when I roll them, and they're like, "Oh, what was I doing wrong?" And I was, "I don't know, man. I was too busy thinking about what I was doing." It is difficult. Are you guys looking forward to getting back on the seminar tour again? I know I was booked in to come to Hamilton Island and train with you guys, but that got canned, unfortunately, so I was pumped for that. Is that happening again? And have you put it in the calendar?
Yeah, that will happen again. I think I'm not sure what date we'll do, but I can't remember if we said we'd do the same time in a year or what we said we'd do, but we'll. It's very hard to put a date right now when you don't know what it looks like everything's going to be returning to normal. So let's hope we can do that.
Yeah, it depends on the internationals too.
Yeah.
I think by September, December, we'll at least be able to travel around our own country. It looks like most of it will open up by then. I'd be surprised if Queensland stays closed much longer than another fortnight or two. They seem to be flying by the seat of their pants, though. But I did kind of want to avoid that conversation today. What are some of the tips you could give guys about training? What's the number one problem you see with the average white belt that comes into the gym? What's the best advice you would give them? Give you both a chance of having a crack at that.
From a purely outside perspective, I think just in terms of for me, the mindset of viewing it as a technical battle, who wins the role is the person with the best technique. Obviously, that's not necessarily true all the time, but I think if you have that mindset that it's who wins is the person with the best technique, and if you're losing, the way to win is to improve your technique. I think if people have that mindset, it solves a lot of the issues that we see around people, how they approach training, going too hard, or not doing things properly, and not focusing on technical development. So I think I could say that was possible for that.
What do you think, Liv?
Definitely sit down and not just, it takes a while to learn how to control your own body and like not panic. But I think definitely slowing down and concentrating on technique. And then probably conversely from that is actually a lot of people are really intimidated or maybe self-conscious of actually rolling, like getting in there and just giving it a go because they don't know what to do. My advice would be to just roll, like don't skip around, roll at an intensity as well that you can actually do all the rounds. If you're a lot of the times we have beginners and you're like, oh, I'm too tired after one round, you're probably going too hard. So uh, we always say at the gym as well, if you don't know how to do something, don't just do it harder and faster. And I think that's a really nice sentence. Slow down and observe what techniques you're doing.
Yeah, they're both really good sets of advice. I got a question here from JJM Sydney for you. It's flowed up on your little screen there. Would you mind answering that for me?
How do we train heel hook safely? Well, I think now we can train that. Like everyone's kind of. I think the first thing is make sure people know what a heel hook is. Because if someone gets caught in one and they don't know what it is, then they're more likely to not recognize it and potentially get injured in trying to get out. So I think if everyone knows what they are, which means teaching them in class, we even teach white belts what they are. They can't at our level. We don't teach white belts to roll with them, but we teach them what the technique is, and then at blue belt we get people to roll. But every club's different. Some people start with them right from the start, and some take longer. So that'd be the first thing, and then I think just catch and release. Like find trusting training partners. Get into the once you got one hand hooking around the heel, that can be considered at first to be a win, and then as you get more comfortable with that, might be connecting two hands is a win, and then later on you can start actually trying to apply a little bit of a bridge behind it so the person gets to actually feel some finishing pressure to it. So I would always just say start on the tap, get people to tap early at first, and then they kind of slowly loosen their threshold for tapping until they find what is roughly the right spot. But then competition is good to make sure you tap early. A lot of people don't even get injured in training, but they're doing competition because your opponent's going to put on a lot harder.
I think also when you're rolling with a beginner, especially, maybe rolling with a black belt is a little bit different. If they're not tapping, just let go. We've hardly had any injuries from heel hooks at our club. The ones that have happened have been from like black belts, like in comp training. But if you know that it's on and someone's not tapping because they don't feel pain, just let go and tell them.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I mean, I've always trained them, and we've never had any injuries under my instruction. Anyway, and we've always just had a catch and release policy, and I've never had enough training partners to be able to say, "Oh, we can't teach white belts." And there's only 10 people in class. You don't really have the class structure to be able to split all the classes and teach a bunch of different stuff. And I suppose if you're in a those small clubs that exist, so it's definitely easier to train everybody. I think knowledge works. What's the funnest thing that keeps you guys coming back to jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu competition? For anybody out there that kind of wants to peer into your mind, why do you keep doing it?
Competing or training?
Both.
Why
jiu-jitsu?
I think it's the problem solving. That's what I like. Like the troubleshooting, and obviously, actually, I think you just feel good if you try. Like doing some sort of physical exercise, you just feel good from doing exercise. And
you don't realize you're exercising either. Like having to have to run during isolation is just crap. Jiu-jitsu is just really.
Yeah, I think any other, if I'm at the gym which as I said, I don't really do because of what I'm about to say, or go for runs or anything like that. Whenever I've done that, I've always just been like, all right, when do I get to finish? Like that's my mind's like, when can I stop running? I can't wait. Or, when can I stop lifting this weight? Whereas jiu-jitsu, I usually want to stay in there and keep going. So I think it's just an enjoyable process. You're not thinking about the exercise, you're thinking about the problems in front of you. And then so there's that, and then I think just the mental side of it and the problem solving, and you can go home and after a training session and you're thinking about an issue, you couldn't get something to work, or someone got something to work on you, and how you could come back and the next time make sure that doesn't happen or does happen. So that to me is the main thing. And competition is probably just a more intense version of that. You get a realistic view of where you're at. Sometimes I think oftentimes we're kind of rolling in the gym and we get this inflated view of how well we're doing, and then you go in a competition and you go, oh, that's right, I'm only here, which I think is actually a good ego check. Usually that's the case anyway. And obviously that gives you plenty of tools to learn and improve from as well.
I actually think the community part is one of my favorite things. So obviously, apart from the learning process and improving and actually executing a skill that might be a new skill that you learned, like it's seeing my friends in that kind of environment every day. And that extends to competing. Like you get to really, when you travel with your team especially, or you get to see them succeed or not succeed, and you go through that process together. I think it's really bonding, and I do miss that. Like the actual competing itself, it's pretty nerve-wracking, sometimes more than other times. So I don't know if I actually enjoy like the waiting around and the unknown, but then you get to improve a lot. You get to like really be in the moment as well when you compete. Hardly ever you're thinking about something else. And the adrenaline rush is probably something that, for me personally, I don't really get that from anywhere else in my life. And then like winning is really fun, which it doesn't happen that often. So when it happens, it's pretty fun.
Living with Lachlan isn't an adrenaline rush.
Everywhere.
That's right.
Yeah, there are good reasons, but there's something about jiu-jitsu. I mean, I've done a bunch of other martial arts and a bunch of other sports and things. I don't know, maybe it's a trust thing with your training partners all the time, but there's special about the bonds in that team that makes you kind of want to do it forever. So it is interesting. So I know, Livia, you had a pretty extensive sporting background before jiu-jitsu. Was there other things that you did before jiu-jitsu as well, Lachlan, before you found it?
Yeah, I did a whole bunch of sports. I did Australian rules football, tennis, cricket, basketball. Up until pretty much I found jiu-jitsu, and then I kind of stopped all the others. So, that took over.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, I'm going to give one more question before we take off, because I said I'd make this nice and quick and fun today. This is a question that I reckon you probably get asked a lot. You may be tired of it, but I want to know the answer as well. Being an MMA guy, I think it's always interesting to know. Do you ever get a desire to be punched in the head?
I definitely don't. Now, no, personally, not really. I would like to. I won't do it. It's not going to happen. But a very small part of me says, "Oh, nice to know just yet. I went in an MMA fight that I could use my to kind of test it in that setting." But really, I'd probably only done it if I felt like I could get very, very good, like to a UFC level where it actually becomes a job, a high-paying job, where it's worth potentially getting brain damage for doing that. But I just like jiu-jitsu and grappling, and I have done some striking for a long time ago, and never really liked to be punched in the head. So.
No, well, look, I did a bunch, and there's nothing that interests me about it at all anymore. I think it's definitely something in us when we do martial arts. Always wonders what's next. Like playing it's all fun, but the sport is obviously a lot of fun.
Well, I think being a black belt, you get thrown into a tough opponent first fight too. So, that can be too fun.
Yeah,
I can't think of much things worse than going into a fight and not being able to take your opponent down. Just the the realization that you're going to just get, picked apart. that seems like it'd be a horrible feeling if that happened.
Yeah, it does. It can happen and does happen. 100%. I want to say thanks for today, and I do have one question for you before you go. What's the next instructional? And is Livia going to release an instructional for all the girls soon?
Liv, do you want to go first?
Yeah. I don't have any immediate plans just yet. We have been sort of talking about it on and off for quite a while. There's some things I do different to Lockie, although I do pretty much just copy Lockie. So I being small and being a female, I think I would have some things to add. But we've just been actually really busy filming Lockie's instructional, so that took precedence. But perhaps in the future, I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be guard retention. That's something I've been focusing on a lot, and finishing off. So we filmed something, and we had a little bit to go. We decided we had to have too big of a break because of this COVID thing to really get it all done properly. So we're going to kind of redo that, but just it should be faster this time because we know exactly what to say, and we'll make it a bit more concise. So yeah, look forward to that.
That'll be a really good DVD.
Yeah.
I love them. Look, I think they're great, and as a coach, I like them. They're a great resource. If I'm about to teach half guard for 2 weeks or a month, it's nice to go through the instructionals and steal a few details. So I love it. I know a lot of my students love it, and I think you're a great coach, Liv, too. So don't sell yourself short. I think the women of Australia would love to have another woman talking to them. I think they're tired of having men instruct them all the time. So.
No, but even for me, I think probably some of the top men are, there's so much technique, but I can actually relate a little bit more to women just because of the pure strength and size and power. So yeah, even though the technique is pretty much the same, I do relate more to other women as well. So I get it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I do think it would be. I do think it would be great, and it'd be good. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it. There's been a bunch of my students on here, so it'd be really good to be able to do this again. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Hope to catch up with you guys soon enough.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy training soon. You guys are a bit.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah,
We'll be there soon enough. Very soon, I think. Yeah.